Yeah. So hello everybody, and welcome to my talk, 8 Healthy Recipes Using Angular and RxJS. And be a little bit about myself before I start. My name is Lamis. I'm a GDE for Angular. I've been into Angular for the past few years, and I'm a senior software engineer based in Tunisia. If you don't know Tunisia, it's a small country bordering the Mediterranean Sea, so it's always warm. And I'm the founder of Angular Tunisia also, and aside, I'm a speaker, mentor, and a content creator. Yeah, so today I will be sharing with you some healthy recipes using Angular and RxJS in order to implement some use cases, or let's say recurrent use cases in web development at the lowest cost. Okay, some performance solutions with minimum code, and you're good to go. But I have a disclaimer for you. So all food pictures here are purely made for aesthetic purposes. Okay, it does not reflect any of the Angular RxJS concept described in the next slides. So don't try to make relations between the concept and the picture, because there's no relation between them. Yeah, and let's start without further ado with the first recipe, which is the bulk operations. Okay, and when I said bulk operations, here is the fact of running parallel network requests. And my case here is, I am presenting a full stack thing. Okay, so you have a RESTful API, you have a RESTful backend, and you have an Angular frontend, and you are performing, or you need to perform in some cases, bulk operations. So here you have your UI made with Angular and a RESTful server, and I have some APIs that I'm going to request to my UI. And in my case, I have an action. Maybe it's a form submit or a regular action through clicking on a button or something that need to execute many requests at the same time. Okay, so here's the bulk operation. And I don't care what is going on through this process. I only care about the result, whether though all those operations were successful or not. Okay, I only care about the result at the beginning. And for this, I will take the example of the upload file, upload all files, and I have here a bulk upload, which is uploading more than one file after clicking on an action. And I will request my upload API in the backend. So this is the example of bulk operation I will consider in this recipe. And the ingredients I will need are fork join, finalize, catch error operators, and a custom function. And of course, an Angular component in which I will emit the action, and an Angular service that will contain the API or the client implementation of the API I'm going to request. So let's start with the fork join, and I will explain it a little bit here. So the fork join operator falls under the category of combination operators. When you need to combine streams, to combine data, then think of it maybe as a candidate. And fork join, let's say I call it a severe operator. Why? Because it emits only one time, then it completes. And it emits when all the streams given as a parameter, because it takes as a parameter a list of streams, an array of streams. When all those streams complete, it will emit, and it will emit one time, and then just complete. And of course, it will emit the last value of each stream. So as you can see in this marble diagram, I have 3 streams. The last value of each stream will be emitted here at the end. And the fork join will complete all the streams and the combination of all the streams also. And I think that this is very useful in case of bulk operation, because actually that's what you need. I mean, you need only the result one time. You don't care what is going on throughout the process, but you need, I mean, a final result of this treatment or process. And in my case here, I have two requests here. Every one of these requests will call the upload service. And the upload service is just here. I have an upload file method that take as an input the file to be uploaded and returns the file status, whether it's uploaded successfully or not. An error happens or something wrong happens. So I have here two calls to this method with different inputs, and I have two streams that I will pass to the fork join as an array. So at the end, I will just retrieve the last values emitted by each streams. In my case, it will be the status. Okay, so I will know whether it was uploaded successfully or not. And here I have last status of the file of the first file and the last status of the second file. I mean, respectively in order. This is also something that you should be aware of with fork join, even if the second stream completed first. Then fork join will conserve the order. Okay, it will be the first in, first out order. Yeah, so this way I will get the status, the file status of each file, and I will just process it to execute a treatment. In my case here, I am just login files uploaded successfully, but in a real world example, you will do some process there. And of course, also in a real world application, here is just made for demonstration purposes, but you will not call the streams one by one as you can see here. It will be dynamic. So don't worry, you should just put the operations in an array and then map the elements of this array into an observable and just pass this array of observable to the fork join. In this way, it's dynamic. Yeah. So this is the first example, but it's not, I mean, it's not conform to the specification I was describing earlier in the slide before. Okay, we handled the happy case, okay, the successful case where all the files were uploaded successfully. But if something wrong happens in the upload file method, if it throws an error, for example, then nothing will get emitted here. And this is the other thing that you should take care of and consider while working with fork join. Fork join emits the last value of each stream and then completes. It's okay. It respects the order, first in, first out. It's okay. And then when something wrong happens, when any one of those streams throws an error, then it will complete and you will not get notified about this. Nothing will be emitted. And you'll be upset because this not, I mean, the behavior that you are waiting for. You should handle the error case, okay? Otherwise, your users will not get notified about what is wrong. You should tell the user that something wrong happens. In the case of files, for example, I can give you an example here. If a file was not uploaded, just tell me why, because I need to upload another file. Maybe the file is not valid. Maybe the size exceeds the limit. maybe the PNG, for example, one of the formats are not supported. So the user should be notified about the reason of the error, okay? So it can be fixed. Yeah, and I need to, in my client side, therefore, I need to consume this information in order to do something, in order to display it in error message, to highlight something in the screen, etc. So I should handle the error in order to cover the whole scenario, happy case and worst case. And in order to do this, all that you have to do is adding the catch error operator, which is responsible for handling errors. Okay, so you just pipe your stream here, the upload file stream, and catch the error, and just wrap this error into another observable. In this way, you're keeping the subscription alive. You're keeping this observable alive and the stream alive, and focus join will not get upset and will continue the work, okay, and will wait for all the other streams to finish in order to give the final result. But be careful here. Once something, you should differentiate between the observable of errors and the other observables. And for this case here, when wrapping this, you just, when wrapping the error and returning an observable, you can put something specific here. In my case, again, file upload, I can put the status here. I can just say that the status here is error, and then I will consume all, each status of each file, and then just display something to the user, to the end user. Yeah, so you just wrap it and put on it a specific information that will make you able later on to process and to know the difference between the error case and the successful case. And that's it. So I think that at this level, we covered, we are conform to the requirement I described earlier of the bulk operation, the upload all process, let's say. And another thing you may need here is the for example, when every stream finished, you may need to do something, to do a process. You want to get notified in order to process, to do something or to achieve something in the application. For example, here in my case, I need to notify the user about the progress of the upload. I have a progress bar, which will, every time, which will get updated, 30%, 40%, 50%, 100%, and it's completed. So I need to show the progress to the user. And what shall I do in this case? Because with focus join, I have only the bulk result for the past streams. I don't have, I don't know where exactly each stream completed, because it waits for all the others to complete in order to emit something. In this case, you can just use the finalize operator, okay? As, here you use the catch error. To wrap the error, you can, again, use the finalize operator and put your process here, the process that you want to execute. And for my case here, I am just calculating the progress percentage and returning it in a variable. This variable can be shared later on the Angular component and passed to the progress bar component. So here, so here is the side effects that I executed in the finalize, and this way, this instruction will get executed when every observable finishes. And you will be happy because, I mean, this is what you want to do. In my case, I want to track the progress of the application, of the upload. So I can do it here, even if the fork join didn't emit something, but I have the information that this stream ended at some point. Yeah, and this is how you can do it. So you can see that you covered the three scenarios in a layer, in a layer process. So let's move to the second recipe, which is caching. How to cache HTTP requests. And here, look at this picture. I have some Angular components here on the left, and I have my recipe service here on the right. And the recipe service just contains recipes $, which is the stream containing the recipes data. Okay, so this is a traditional way to do it in RxJS. I have an Angular service, and I have my stream of data in this service. And suppose that you have, many components. So every module that provides this service will get access to this service. Okay, so every component can get access consequently to the recipes $ stream, and every component can subscribe to it in order to get data. And when you're working again with a RESTful backend, I am pointing out again here the full stack thing. Okay, all my recipes, here are experienced with the full stack thing. With RESTful API. And I said, okay, so the recipes $ will call an API in order to get the list of recipes. So as a component, I can subscribe to this in order to get the data. So if I have many subscribers in many components, or in the same component, doesn't matter, but if I have many subscribers to this observable, I will every time see in the network console a call to this service, okay, to this backend service. So you have every time an HTTP request executed, okay? And sometimes you don't need to retrieve this information many times. Sometimes it's static. For example, the list of currencies, okay? It's static, will not change. So I need to get it one time in my application. I want to cache it. And here where caching hit the scenes. You may here think of caching resources in your client-side layer. And in order to do this with RxJS, you can just, so here you have the double calls, as I told you. You need two ingredients, the cherry play and the catch errors. So here I have my healthy recipes service. So let's break down what's going on in this service. I have my recipes $, which is the observable containing the data, or let's say the streams. And this observable will call my API. It's a backend API. And I will just pipe this observable in order to catch the error. And in my case here, I am using a custom function to catch the error, which is process error. And it's something that I recommend in order to deal with errors. So, and this is a recommended pattern in RxJS. Here you have, so instead of just putting the recipes $ as an attribute, here you can just put a function and call it, okay? And this way, this is what we learned at the beginning when we started with RxJS. And this will not make you able to share this stream, the observable stream, with other components, okay? you cannot, collect the data as a stream and make your application reactive and share the stream with all the components. And again, you will need to call this in the ng on init lifecycle hook, and you will, every time your component will get rendered, you will process multiple calls to this function, so it will affect your performance in some way. Yeah, so this is the the recommended pattern in order to deal with streams and to make streams available everywhere by your application component, and to just subscribe to the stream in many components and make your application fully reactive if you have many relations between your components. I mean, every component may display many streams associated with different other services. Okay, so yeah, so this is I want to shed light on this because it's a very helpful pattern. Now let's come back to the share replay thing, which will cache the data for us. So here, when you just introduce and call the share replay, you will share this observable with all the subscribers. Okay, so this way you will only get one call, and this is very helpful if you want to cache your resources. The data coming from the server that you put in a stream and you use it. And just the last thing here, not everything is cacheable. Just study carefully before you start if this resource can be cached or not. Okay, because some resources can't be cached. For example, the API you are calling and requesting returns different result according to the input. Okay, to the input, and maybe this input is variable from one component to another. So yeah, it's true, I have only one service, but this service returns different data based on the input or the parameter I passed to that service. So it's meant to be. I mean, in this case, every component should recall the service and get the specific data to this component. Okay, they are not supposed to get the same result. They are supposed to get different result. So in this case, I mean, if you put the share replay, your application will be totally messed up. Okay, because every component will display the same other data of the other components, and this is not the desired behavior. Okay, so just study it, be careful. If it's something static, like I said, for example, the list of currencies and it's shared between many components, I don't know, maybe the user information, okay, which are specific per session, per user session, and even in this way, it's not really static, but sometimes it is. But yeah, so this is the idea. If it's something static, so okay, do it, cache it, use RxJS in order to cache it. If it's not, just keep it as it is, and yeah, you don't have to choose. Maybe you can optimize in other way. Yeah, so this is the caching recipe. Now let's move to the next recipe, which is combining streams, data joining. Okay, here, as I said, it's highly recommended to put streams in RxJS. When you're working with RxJS and Angular, to put streams as an attribute in your Angular service to make your application fully reactive and to share those streams throughout the application. Now, the components that will need more than one stream available in more than one service will get those streams in order to execute a treatment, right? Now, this treatment, maybe they need to combine those streams. I don't know if you can relate, but if you're familiar with SQL and relational databases, you may, make an analogy between those two concepts. I remember in SQL, we used to join tables in order to execute a query and to get some specific result. And yeah, this is the same, I mean, exactly the same thing. Okay, if you have two data separated in many streams, then you can join them using RxJS, and you will need combine latest. In my case, this is a the operator I used in my recipe, but there are many other combination operators that you can use. The catch error and the array destructuring technique. And let's start with combine latest. So combine latest here is an operator that falls under the category of combination operators, and it emits every time the last values of each stream. So every time the stream emits a value, the combine latest will emit in its turn. I mean, combine latest takes an array of streams and returns every time the last value of each stream. Okay, so here, for example, I have two streams. The first emitted value is A for this stream. The second one is 1, so you have A1. Now, the first stream emits another value, which is B. At that point, the second stream didn't emit anything, so the last value is 1. So you have B1. And this at this time, the second stream emitted the value 2, and this stream, still, the last value is B. So it will be B2, and so on and so forth. So every time it will emit the last value of the past streams as input. And this will make you able to get the recent version of the data every time. And this is what I mean, I took advantage of in my situation, because I have here recipes dollar and reviews dollar. I have the list of recipes, and I have like reviews for each recipe. And the reviews will get updated over the time, okay? And I am separating the recipes API and the reviews API, okay? So there are kind of two separate streams, recipes and dollars, recipes and reviews, dollar. And here I am just combining the streams in order to get notified about the last version of each data, last version of recipes, last recipes available, and last reviews available. And I will get notified every time a change occurs in one of those streams. And this is what I want to do, because I will do something after both recipes and reviews have emitted something. And here how you can process a result. You use the map operator and the array destructuring technique in order to get the array of recipes and the array of reviews and do something. Okay, in my case, I can just display the count of reviews available for this recipe in the UI. Okay. Yeah, so this is how I implemented this using combine latest. So far, so good. Now let's move to the fourth recipe, which is avoid memory leaks. And this is something you should consider when you're implementing with your application with RxJS. And I will here shed light on unsubscriptions. Okay, the memory leaks subject is contains many, aspects, and the unsubscriptions is one of the most important ones. So, how to avoid memory leaks? What we need is asynchronous pipe, take until, first, take last, and first. All those are RxJS operator, and this is an Angular pipe. And I think that you may all be familiar with the async pipe. So you have the first approach is let Angular manage the subscription for you. Okay, don't manage the subscription yourself. And for this, you can use the asynchronous pipe. For those who don't know the asynchronous pipe, this pipe will first of all do the subscription for you, which is so great. I don't need to trigger the subscribe, and best of all, will unsubscribe for you. I don't need to care about the unsubscription. Okay, and in this case, it will be very your application will be performant. I mean, I don't have memory leaks in this case. Okay, and it goes. The perfect match is asynchronous pipe and the change detection strategy on push. Okay, so here when working with Angular, we recommend to change the change detection strategy to on push to limit the change detection cycles triggered by Zone.js. And in this case, you can, enhance the performance, the runtime performance of your application and the rendering process, okay? Even the update of the rendering. And the change detection on push get triggered when the inputs change or the reference of the inputs change. The events, there's some events that got triggered, or you have some observables in the template like this way. So you have observables, you are subscribing using the async pipe. So every time this observable will emit another value, the change detection will get triggered. Okay, so this will limit your change detection cycle. So you can combine them. You can combine both of them, asynchronous pipe and the change detection strategy on push. This is in the case if you want Angular to manage the unsubscription for you. Now, if you want RxJS to manage the subscription for you, you can use one of those operators if you need them. I mean, if there's the need to use them. For example, the take operator here. Okay, take operator will just emit the 5 values, emit only 5 values and complete after that. You can see here the output of the console. And take while also take last and first the same. The same behavior. Okay. If you have this, if you want to, or you can use those operators, then use them. Okay, because it will complete the subscription for you, and you're done with this. Now, if you want to look further, you can check out one of the available open source libraries over there. So I recommend 2 libraries: Until the Story, which is a custom RxJS operator that unsubscribes from observables on this story. So you don't need to take care about this part. It will manage this for you. And Angular also do this, okay? It's a good library to manage the reactive state and to get high performant rendering. And one of the things that this library performs is the change detection. The performance of your UI while it manages the unsubscription. Okay. Now, check this out. Maybe it's helpful. Last thing is do it yourself. So if you don't have the choice, if you are like, you need to subscribe in your component and in your service, you are forced to do this. You can't manage the subscription and unsubscription in the template. Okay, you can't use one of those, one of the ArcGIS available operator over there. You don't want to include a third-party dependency in your application. You don't want to use another library. Then do it yourself, but just don't forget to unsubscribe. And this is a good pattern for unsubscribe. I want to share it with you. You can subscribe to our stream, but then use take until, which will take the subscription. The subscription will get alive until this past subject in the input get completed. Okay, and you can complete this subject whenever you want. Okay, for my case, I completed it in the ng on the story lifecycle hook, and I just next something and then complete the subject. This is a good behavior. I mean, this is a good pattern also to consider unsubscribing on this story lifecycle hook. You can also just call unsubscribe on your streams or on your merge streams. Okay, if and when you merge or combine the streams, you can unsubscribe. I mean, the subscription of the merge streams. Okay, you don't have to unsubscribe from each stream one by one. You do the unsubscribe on the resulted subscription. This way, RxJS will unsubscribe from each stream apart. Yeah, so this is some advice to manage memory leaks, and I have a specific, I will have a specific presentation about this. So with the Angular community, just check out this repository and you will get notified about the date. Yeah, it will be, I don't know the exact date, but you will get notified if you subscribe to this GitHub repository. Now, let's move to this next recipe, which is sharing data between components. And what we need here is a secret ingredient, behavior subject, Angular service, an Angular service, observables, update function, a custom function to update. So the use case here, I have a data to share, okay, between my components. This data gets updated by one component and get consumed by all the others, or you can just update and consume, every component can just update and consume at the same time. So if you show me this, I will tell you automatically consider state management and put in place a state management library in your application. You can pick NGRX, for example, and there are many other libraries available over there to manage the state. But sometimes you don't need to manage the whole state of your application. You have only one kind of data that you need to share with one or two components, and that's it. Okay, you have two components in your UI that will just, the data in those components are related to each other. If I edit something in this component, it will get notified in the other, and vice versa. So in this case, you can consider the behavior subject, and this is a recommended pattern here. In your Angular service, you can just instantiate the behavior subject at object. By default, you can put a default value here. For me, is an empty string. You can expose here this subject as an observable publicly to the other components, and you have an update method. Here I have the update recipe, which will get triggered by other components providing that service in order to put the or to send the last value of a recipe to my behavior subject. And I will here just call this method in the onClick event of my recipes component. And this way, every component that subscribes to the list of recipes here will get notified about the last recipe emitted. Okay, this is a good pattern also. Next recipe is real-time using WebSockets, consume real-time data. If you have real-time data to consume and you have a WebSocket server, then check out the WebSocket subject. This is the secret ingredient here. And you will need also an Angular service. So I just want to make you aware that RxJS has this support, and the WebSocket subject is just a wrapper around the W3C WebSocket object available in the browser, and you can send some, pass the URL of your endpoint, and will start connecting to this socket server and emitting value for you as long as your WebSocket server emits value. You can also override, or let's say put your custom behavior in the lifecycle hook. The opening of the observable, the opening of the connection, the closure of the connection, the serialization thing. So you can customize the behavior here. And I have many, articles and talks about this subject. You can even check my GitHub repository in order to see my ng real-time dashboard, which will contain the code I demonstrated in all these events. And you can check out the talks also in order to understand further the WebSocket subject. It's really a deep dive into the capability of this special kind of subject, and it's very detailed. So if you are interested, just check it out. Now, bench performance. So this is a very healthy recipe also. So measure the performance of your application. And in order to do this, you need Source Map Explorer, which is the recommended library from the Angular community in order to bench, or let's say analyze the bundle size and to measure your bundle size. So you can see your bundle size and the different modules used in your application, and you can see if the size, if there is, some sizes that exceeded the limit or something. So just check out the Source Map Explorer in order to measure your bundle size. Consider the change detection strategy on push to enhance the runtime performance, and the change detection cycles get optimized. Consider lazy loading when you're working with modules and the routing, etc. So you only retrieve those modules on demand. If you are working with ng4 structural directive, combine it with track by, it's really good. And if you have a big application and you need to, and your application is subject to state, then consider state management. And last recipe, stay healthy. So to stay healthy, stay hydrated, and always upgrade to the last version. The last version is 11.2, and it's there are many great features in this last version. All you need is just the schematic, ng update, and you will update your application to the last version, which will improve out of the box the performance every time. There are some work done by the Angular team regarding the performance of your application, the bundle size, the build time, etc. So you will get this optimized out of the box without having to do anything. So get up to date. And those are my collection of great features available in Angular 11. Faster build. The NGCC update process is faster. It's 4 times faster comparing to the version 9. There's faster compilation with TypeScript 4.0. The experimental Webpack 5 support is here. You can play around things like modules, federations. It's very cool. There are improved reporting and logging process, and the language service is updated. And I like this plugin because it provides helpful tools to make development with Angular productive and fun. Okay, there are many auto-completion things, etc. So that's it. Just give it a try and update your application. Thank you very much for having me. That's all I have to tell you today. If you have any question, don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you, and stay safe.